Now, there's some K-pop fans that love their news and gossip, or poorly researched articles and fluff about their favorite idols. Obsessive news on worshipping idols is actually the norm in K-pop today. Oh my god, is this what K-pop journalism passes these days? Now hey, if you're one of these fans that like their news and gossip about their favorite idols, more power to you, you do you. But for me personally, I feel that this obsessive idol worship and trashy gossip really hurts K-pop as a whole. I'll even take it a step further and say that K-pop is well behind other pop culture mediums such as film, anime, and video games. It really sucks to say that. I just have to be real. So here's why I want K-pop to rise above idol worship and gossip news. So when K-pop broke into the West in the late 2000s, you had sites such as All K-pop and Pop Soul come in, as well as Soompi, who's been around since 1998. And later, you had Koreaboo jump into the fray. And these sites would form the basis of K-pop news in English, as they would go onto Korean sites and translate their news from Korean into English. Now, some of these sites reported the news pretty well and quite accurately with a neutral tone, while other sites, well, yeah, not so good. Now, the basis of these sites was to cover the celebrity life of K-pop idols. And since there was a lot of newcomers, a lot of new international fans coming into K-pop during the late 2000s, these sites knew that the best way to hook in these newcomers into a relatively new genre like K-pop is to talk about the celebrities and idols. Much like you'll see in a celebrity magazine, these K-pop sites would also concentrate on a K-pop idol's life, their sightings, their concerts, and their fashion. Yet 10 years later, as K-pop began to become a lot more popular in the West, it hasn't really changed too much. I feel it hasn't gotten past its gossip, news, and idol worshipping beginnings. The genre is focused around idols. Too much, if you ask me. Now, the average K-pop fan is drawn to a celebrity, an idol. Pretty much their life, like what they eat, what they wear, what kind of makeup they use, and so forth. And hey, I get it. It's understandable that maybe you do admire a K-pop idol because of their upbringings or their hard work or how much passion they had to make it as a K-pop idol, and it maybe inspired your life. Maybe it helped you during a rough time. I do get that. And for that, hey, that's cool. But when idol worship becomes way too obsessive, then yeah, it starts to become a problem. Because I feel it brings down K-pop as a whole. The K-pop fandom in general is one of the most obsessed fandoms in the world. Now, you might have heard of the term Sasaeng, or obsessed Korean K-pop fan, where they'll pretty much stalk idols everywhere in Korea, get their schedule, wait at a TV station or at an airport to see glimpses of their favorite celebrities, and give them gifts where they'll actually have like a camera inside a stuffed teddy bear that will film the idol. To be honest, the international community does have their own Sasaengs, although maybe a notch or two below, where they're just obsessed with their favorite idols. They can't stop talking about them. They pretty much have a portfolio of just their pictures on their smartphone, and so forth.
This is often shown in many K-pop videos comment sections. By looking at the YouTube comments, you're bound to see something like BTS, Twice, Blackpink, EXO, or 101 brought me here by many of these fans. Now, this necessarily isn't a horrible thing, as many K-pop groups are very respectful of the older K-pop legends that paved the way for them. And it's great to see these mega popular groups using their platform to promote lesser known songs or groups. But this does show that a lot of hardcore K-pop fans and Sasaengs will only check out a new song or group if it's endorsed by their favorite groups. That these fans won't go out of their way to find new songs by themselves or dismiss songs because it's not from their favorite mainstream groups. This phenomenon shows that a lot of K-pop fans cling on to every word from their favorite singers, showing the overly idol-centric focus of the genre.
Add to the fact that these same fans admire an idol's looks, their fashion, their makeup, and their huge social media following, and it's no wonder why these fans worship an idol. After all, the definition of an idol is to worship or greatly admire someone. This very idol focus has made K-pop superficial. But to many K-pop news sites, as well as K-pop companies, superficial be damned. Because these K-pop sites, as well as K-pop labels, know to make money, it's all about the idol worship. They just need to pump out easy to digest news, plaster a lot of ads on their site or video, and make money from the millions that visit. It's kind of like fast food where you know it's not healthy, but boy, is it easy to get, cheap, and delicious. Now, if you have fast food every once in a while, hey, no problem. Everyone should be able to get their favorite burger or pizza, but if you eat fast food every day, then it's gonna be a problem. This is the same in K-pop, where K-pop fans are constantly bombarded and exposed to news and gossip and idol worship. At first, you can't really blame these fans, as they're getting off a long day of school or work, and the last thing they want to do is really think and just want to veg out, and just what better way to do that than gossip. And since the demand for idol worship and gossip is still really big, K-pop sites and companies will continue to pump out this content because the demand is there. So why do I think K-pop's behind film, anime, gaming, and esports? Well, it's really simple. There's just way too much idol worship in K-pop, whereas these mediums have a lot less of the idol factor, and there's a lot more to talk about, and fans are a lot more willing to talk about other aspects of those genres. Let me give you some examples. So with K-pop, sure, you have some fans that will talk about, say, the singing aspect, breaking down lyrics of a music video, or the song's actual true meaning from Korean to English, and so forth. And for that, I applaud those K-pop creators. There are a few, but those are some awesome people, and I am actually subbed to a lot of them. But that's still a small minority of people, as the vast majority of content creators know where the traffic is. It's basically in idol worship, news and gossip, as well as things like reaction videos, makeup tutorials, and choreography videos. Now let's compare this to film. Now with film, sure, you do have that idol factor, as some people go crazy over their favorite actors and actresses, yet it's still a small part of the movie fandom itself, because there's so many aspects of films that you can talk about that's not the actor, such as the film's story, the lore, the cinematography, the film's music, and the film's acting, to just name a few aspects. And to further this point, ask yourself this. When you're talking about your favorite movie series, were you really over-obsessing over the actor? Or were you talking about other aspects of that said movie? Anyone that's a fan of the Star Wars films, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, or Marvel movies can attest to this. The same could be said with anime. So instead of idol obsessing over voice actresses, or the developers, or the artists themselves, fans also talk about the anime story, characters, and lore. And anyone that's a fan of, say, My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, and One Punch Man can all attest to this. And yes, it can also be said for gaming and esports. Instead of fawning over the game creators and developers, or even the esports players, people can talk about a multitude of a game or an esport. And anybody that's a fan of, say, Kingdom Hearts, or Final Fantasy, or Persona, or in esports games such as League of Legends, Dota 2, or Overwatch can, yes, attest to this. Now, in all these examples, the focus was not on the actor, the developer, or the esports player as much as a lot of other factors. Fans in these genres are willing to talk about other aspects of their pop culture medium, whereas in K-pop, it's still limited to a very few topics, and it's all mostly related to idols. So one of these reasons why K-pop is that limited is because of the young demographic. Now, the average age of a K-pop fan is early teens to about early 20s. Younger fans in general are into that news and gossip and idol worship. And there's also the factor, since you have a bit more time in high school and college, it's easier to keep up with K-pop news and gossip and following your favorite idol. As these fans get older, they start to realize that adulting takes place, and it changes their worldview. But when these kids get older, they start to drift out of the K-pop idol worship phase. And it's because of adulting. Because I consider adulting when you graduate from college and get your first job, or are looking for your first job. And rather than just keep up with the idol worship and gossip, these kids, now turned adults, tend to see the world in a bigger picture. Because let's face it, you have to make money, you have bills to pay, maybe you're paying off your college loan, maybe you want to start a family, maybe you want to buy a house or a new car. Whatever the case, it's all part of adulting. Adulting also makes people more mature and makes them want to learn more about the world and more about knowledge itself. And I feel these grown-up fans want more meat, more substance in what they're learning. And this includes K-pop.
And this extends not only to the older, now adulting K-pop fans, but the non-K-pop casual fans themselves. A lot of them can't take the genre seriously. Between the crazy K-pop fandoms, which I may talk about in a future video, the lack of in-depth discussion, and the focus on idols and their lives via gossip, a lot of these non-K-pop fans can't really relate. And I do have a lot of friends that are afraid of getting into K-pop because they just want to enjoy the music, or they're afraid that if they have a dissenting opinion, or they didn't like a song as much as the next person, that it may bring the wrath of obsessed fans that need to protect their oppas from any criticism.
Now, with that being said, I'm not saying to not admire or not like idols. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying not to over-obsess with idols and to live your own life. For me, I admire idols for their hard work and their music. But my admiration stops there. I met and know a lot of idols, and a lot of them are really cool people. And for me, they're just as human as I am. So with all that being said, there is some hope for K-pop fans in the West, as when I go to concerts and do K-pop panels, I talk to a lot of teenagers and college students, and a lot of them have secretly told me that they actually do want in-depth, more meaty substance on K-pop. They want to know about the K-pop industry. They want to know about how music's produced, or their actual life, or real talk on K-pop, or just the business decisions of K-pop. But as I said earlier, there's not many K-pop creators that do that because there's very little money in it and not enough demand. And there also needs to be a culture shift in K-pop where fans actually prefer more in-depth or more non-idol worship news and content. And I think that's just going to take time, as well as the K-pop audience getting older and maturing a bit. Much like how movies several decades ago or video games just 20 years ago were considered like cheap entertainment and full of fluff. Now these genres are considered to be in-depth, and you can talk about a multitude of things in these two mediums. And hopefully the same happens to K-pop. So wrapping it up, I hope that we can go above idol worship and trashy K-pop gossip news. I want to see K-pop expanded. I want to see K-pop seen as art the way as other pop culture mediums are seen. So now over to you. What do you guys think about this video and idol worship and gossip news? Do you guys agree with me in that there's way too much idol worship and trashy news, or do you guys like that stuff and don't care if you worship idols? No worries. I'd like to know your comments in the comments below.
And you guys know the drill. If you guys want real talk on K-pop and K-pop journalism, then please sign up for my email list and grab that free ebook on learning more about K-pop in depth.
And with that being said, I'm off to watch more K-pop music videos, but I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.